doing a little bit of minor work. So right down, right there, that tan color thing, my cam sensor, I've got it disconnected from the harness. Luckily, those can be had without taking the water pump off. I did have to drain the coolant to get the radiator hose out of the way. But that thing's super loose in there. I think I'm leaking past that O-ring because the wiring harness, it was just covered in oil, man. Just covered in oil. So I did get the sensor out. And when you take yours out, there's a part number. You can't really see it very well, but there it is, 12591720. That's for the ZL1. Might be the same for the SS. Might even be the same for the Z28. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, this is kind of chewed up because even though it was pushed into the timing cover, I could spin this easily in there. But as soon as the O-ring got past the cover, you can see the dark band here. It was hanging up on the timing cover, and I had to grab a pair of channel locks with both hands and wiggle that thing out of there. It took a little while, but I got it out. And now I'm going to clean the contacts that are covered in oil with this stuff, and it's plastic safe. Don't use brake cleaner because it'll probably melt the plastic or expand the rubber on the connector. That weather pack type seal, brake cleaner will just destroy that. So you don't want to use brake cleaner. So like I said earlier, I drained the coolant and I got the radiator hose out of the way. The air intake I had to take off both belts. I left the AC belt on. I did have to take off this idler. That's a 15 millimeter, and it goes right down there, right on that, to get it out of the way in order to access. My battery just went dead on my flashlight. Anyway, I wanted to show you a couple tricks, so it might save you a little bit of time. Well, here's the new sensor and the bolt for it. So when you take this bolt out, it's actually going to loosen up the top half of the harness. And let me show you that harness. Forgive me, I don't have my GoPro. I'm having to film this on a potato. Anyway, that's the harness and the metal bracket. Now, in order to get this metal bracket out of the way, you can see it's really loose. There's a bolt on the bottom, and you don't want to take it all the way out. You just want to loosen it. You're not going to be able to get to it from the top very well or at all. So I did it from the bottom, so let me show you what that looks like. All right, so here we are under the car, and you can see that bolt head right there, and then this greasy, oily harness. That's the other end of the metal bracket that goes up to the sensor. It's going up and around the damper and connecting and bolting to the cam sensor up on top. If you loosen this bolt, just leave it in, loosen it enough so that this whole bracket thing holding the pigtail can swing out of your way up top, and that'll give you the room you need in order to get to the sensor. If you take that bolt out, it's so close to the damper, you might have trouble getting it back in. But it's real easy to reach with that flex head and a regular open end wrench to tighten it up. So that's a tip for the day. So this is what I used to get the bottom bolt out. You can use a ratchet with an extension. I didn't need this flexible part because I had started the bolt already. I broke it loose with the regular wrench, but the flex head did help. So alright, I got some engine assembly lube on there. You can use engine oil. And I'm just going to put that right inside the hole, push it in, and then get the bolt and the bracket set up, and I'll show you that when it's done. Sorry I have to use a kind of a crummy camera, but that's my phone and I can't hold the phone and do this all at the same time. So sorry it's not the greatest video, but you'll get the idea hopefully, and hopefully something here can help you out. Well, that thing went in way easier than the old one came out. The old one must have been swollen or something wrong with it. That just popped right in, and hopefully everything's good with the O-ring. We're going to go ahead and clean up that with the electrical cleaner, degrease it, and then get that bracket back on and put the 10mm bolt in. And I'll show you what the torque specs are as soon as I get done with that. I don't know why the service manual does this. It gives a picture of an engine. This is actually the 7-liter LS7 engine. You can tell by the canister here. This is pretty much the instructions for removing this. This is that bracket I was telling you about. That's the bolt I was saying to leave in that I showed you the video of. And we got the sensor in, and the O-ring comes with the new sensor when you buy it. So these two bolts torque down to 89 inch-pounds. And that is inch-pounds, not foot-pounds, 10 Newton meters. So it doesn't take much. And we're going to go ahead and tighten that one, and I'm going to crawl back underneath and just tighten this one down with the flex head and then the opened end wrench. And I can't really do that and hold the phone, so once again, sorry about the kind of crummy video, but I did want to point that out, to not take that out, and how easy it is to actually do this sensor. You don't have to take the water pump off, you don't have to take all the pulleys off. It was actually easier than I thought. I'll show you some of the installation when I get some of it reassembled. So the bolt is tight. I just did that one hand tight because I can't get a torque wrench on it. And we cleaned up the electrical connector, tightened that bolt. I did want to show you guys something else. When I did my cam, I noticed that underneath the alternator, let's see if I can move you over here where you can see it. Oh, it's going to be really hard to see. Well, yeah, you can kind of see it. Right there, that black split loom, you can see the friction tape I put on it. This cooler line right here, see if I can get this to focus a little better. That cooler line rubs that wire loom. Sorry, it's really difficult to get this shot. Right there, you can see the friction tape I put on it. It looks like it's pinching it. It's actually not, but that is how GM put that wire loom through there. And it will rub through. So if you ever have your alternator off, or if you're OCD like me, you can take it off and you might be able to reroute it. I don't think there was a way for me to do it. Not sure at this point. That was 1.5 years ago. But anyway, just to let you know that that is a point that can rub through your harness. So you might want to look at fixing that. Well, car is safely on the ground. Got our jack stand out from under it. Jack is down. I'm gonna put this back on, and that is going to get torqued to 33 foot-pounds. And that's the idler that we took off. So we're gonna go ahead and put that to 33 foot-pounds and start getting belts and hoses back on. Well, we connected the radiator hose and connected it's not really the overflow, it goes to the cooling system on the engine. And then reconnected the supercharger coolant reservoir, which I never drained, by the way, I just moved it out of the way. And we're gonna reconnect the catch can over here to the radiator mount, and then we're going to just button up the hoses back to where they were, the little clamp here, and put the belts on, and then put the intake on. I still have to put the elbow here and get this connected, and then fill this with the coolant from that. And that has only had brand new coolant in it, and it was rinsed. And I'll filter it before I put it back in the car. So And yes, we did tighten up the petcock at the bottom. Nothing like having coolant run all over the place. And that hopefully will fix the leak. I've been fighting this leak for a while. Thought it was the crank seal. Replace a crank seal when I did the cam. Replaced it again because of the leak. And then it still leaked. Replaced it again when I put the 10% overdrive pulley on. Still leaked. 3 seals. That's not the problem. Hopefully that'll be it. This is a picture the manual gives you for replacing the belt. Not a very good one. This is better. It's not exact, but we don't have this pulley. But if you just run the belt straight down to the alternator, that's it. This is your tensioner. And so you're just going to turn the bolt that way with the ratchet, and this will rotate down and you'll be able to slip that belt over. It is pretty tight. Hopefully you didn't take off the air conditioning belt, because that is a stretch to fit, and those are a pain to get on and off. Actually, getting off is easy, you just cut it. Supercharger belt isn't difficult to put on. I'm sure if you got it off, you can figure it out to put it on. It's really simple. Anyway, that should be it for that. We're gonna put the air tube back on, and yeah, we'll be done. Fill it with coolant. Well, it runs, so I guess the cam sensor's working. Just gonna finish topping off the coolant. After it warms up, burps all the air out, put the radiator cap on, we're done. Hopefully it gets rid of my leak. I'll let you guys know in a future video. Have a good night.